Hey everybody, this is DXB TV. I'm John, this is Mark, and we're starting up a series. We're going to come to you every other week with just some quick little hunting tips, just very short videos. So most of them are going to be from this guy, Mark, who has shot well over 200 deer with your bow, and not to mention a lot of other animals. So, and this is kind of geared for people, that don't have a lot of experience, maybe that don't have a dad or family that they hunt with, just to give you some information, some tips on how you can be successful. So, what would be like a beginning tip for somebody that hasn't hunted much? Once they've got their bow, obviously you're going to want to get a bow and take it to a pro shop and have people that are more knowledgeable help you get it set up. But as far as just going out in the woods, what would be one of the first things that they would do?
Well, one way to start out is to always make sure when you're walking to your tree stand that you walk with the wind in your face. It doesn't matter if you have to go a long way around to get to it. Just otherwise you get there, everything knows you're already there.
Right.
So just go that way and then try not to walk on any trails because the deer use the trails and they'll smell you. So if you get to a trail that's crossing right in front of your stand, step over it right where you're going to shoot at the deer because he will probably stop there just for a minute to smell where you're at, and that gives you a standing still shot. So that's one good tip that I can think of right off.
Right, as opposed to crossing the trail
Yeah,
behind a bush where you couldn't even
where
shoot.
you couldn't shoot.
Yeah, right.
Because then they'll stop and then you never even get shot.
Well, I mean, they live with their nose, so,
Yeah.
like you said.
They'd smell you before you even got there if the wind was at your back as you walked in.
Right.
And they will get if you keep hunting the same stand a lot, they'll know right when you're at, where you're coming from, where you're going back.
Start patterning you.
Yes. Even after it's dark and you're gone, if you just walk out a trail, then that night they know where you're at.
Right.
So you don't want to walk down the trails.
Right, right.
If nothing else, just walk 10 feet beside it. It's better than walking right down it.
Right. Well, and I don't know about you. I mean, I kind of know your opinion on this, but I don't believe you can ever completely fool their nose. I don't care what you buy, what
there ain't no way
scent spray you buy.
Nope.
But then there's times, like there was times this year, this hunting season, where I know my wind went right to a deer and they didn't even act like they cared. So it's almost like sometimes it depends on the deer or maybe the day.
Right.
Sometimes it seems like they don't care, but 90% of the time, if they smell you, they're not going to be happy and they're going to be gone.
No.
So.
If they start stomping, do not move. Just stand there. Don't move. And finally, they might get uncurious. But if they start stomping and bobbing their head, just don't move until they're done with that. If you see them finally calm down, wiggle their tail, then you're like, okay, I think I got a chance again. Because then they might go ahead and start walking.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Something I told somebody the other day. That tell them about the whole tail wiggle. Kind of exactly what that.
It just means everything's okay. They was worried, and then whenever they wiggle that tail, they'll usually turn and start walking somewhere.
And they've kind of forgot about whatever bothered them.
That's whatever it was okay now.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're going to call it a wrap on our first episode.
All right.
So.
Maybe next week we'll have a better story to tell.
Yeah, we'll have a better story and some more tips. So come back and watch us next week on DXB TV.
DXD.
So come back and watch us next week on DXB TV.